Are you a small business sole proprietorship, or are you a board member or CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company? And the business you're in is really starting to really struggle. What are some things you can do to turn things around? By the way, it doesn't matter if you're a small business or a multi-billion-dollar company. Business is business, and all the concepts are the same. I'm Curtis Mulberg, and that's what we'll cover in this episode of An American Entrepreneur. So regardless of what size business you're in, all the concepts are really the same. And some of the tactics you see most of the time, and I call these generic tactics, is especially with bigger companies, they start laying people off, they start closing locations, and they start selling off assets so that they can have the working capital to keep operations going. But these tactics are usually short-term in nature in that they don't really fix the problem. They just pretty much buy you more time. So probably the biggest strategy I've seen after doing all the generic strategies, because I do know and I recognize the fact that sometimes you just have to do what you've got to do. But one of the things that I've seen to be so amazing and helpful is what a company called Victorinox or Victorinox, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but they're the company that owns the Swiss Army knife. This company was founded in 1884, and back in 2001, after September 11, that company was extremely barely surviving. I mean, they were almost on the brink of closing their doors. People just weren't buying their pocket knives anymore because after September 11th, especially with people traveling, people just couldn't carry these knives anymore. And it had such a huge impact on their business that they were on the brink of closing their doors. And the people that were running the company, and I find this to be so amazing, and by the way, it's just a great example of creativity, but they took advantage of their brand, Swiss brand. Everyone has heard of Swiss, which of course is the Swiss Army knife, but they started diversifying and started selling tennis shoes, backpacks, luggage, watches. And because they got away from strictly making knives, and they diversified their products, this has really turned the company around, and now they're strong as ever. So basically, any business, whether it's a small proprietorship or a billion-dollar company, you can always diversify and do other things. And if you're a really small business, and let's say, just a few ideas, if you've got a martial arts studio and maybe you're having problems meeting rent, maybe consider sharing your space with someone that does yoga, or maybe you can expand your own business to start having yoga classes. Maybe the people taking yoga will start taking some of your martial arts lessons and vice versa. Let's say you're another really small business and you have a catering truck. Maybe instead of just selling hamburgers and tacos, maybe you can diversify a little and carry 4 or 5 different flavors of ice cream. Again, you can always diversify your product offerings to get you out of one little niche that may not be doing good as it was maybe years ago. So one of the biggest aspects, I think, or takeaways is to learn to be really creative. And there's one tragic story, and I've mentioned this company a few times in other videos, and I can't help but mention it here again, is Blockbuster. Blockbuster was an American icon. I mean, they were all over the country. It was so huge, and it's just part of Americana, and it's so sad and amazing to see that they're no longer here. But Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix years ago for $50 million, and they passed on them. Now Blockbuster's gone. Netflix is worth over $30 billion. So Blockbuster never did change with the times. They never did diversify. They never used any creativity. I guess they supposed that people would always drive to a brick and mortar, pick up movies, and drive back to return them. So brainstorm, think about different things maybe you can do to change some of your offerings. And I'm sure that you can come up with something that can really get your business a nice injection of new cash flow and new revenues. But just don't stay inside of the box. So many companies just think that this is the only thing we're going to do. We can't do anything else. Then they find themselves completely out of time and working capital like Blockbuster. I hope this video added value. If it did, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. So if you're a small business or large business, it would be great to hear some of your ideas and some things that you guys did to turn your business around to give it a new lease on life. I'm Curtis Mulberg. I'll see you again soon on another episode of An American Entrepreneur.